They will take your blood, spin it in a centrifuge, and pick out all of the good cells, and then inject them into the area needed and keep us from needing surgery at all.
My name is Emily. I'm an engineer and a certified psychology coach. On this channel, we design, build, and manifest our dream life. I'm so excited to have a new podcast guest. Ashley Wright is an aesthetic professional and a skincare expert. She will be giving you all of the secrets to have youthful, glowing skin for the rest of your life.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. I'm so happy to have you here.
I know.
We've just started doing the podcast, but we're going to be asking all the spicy questions that my subscribers have been hoping to find the answers to. As you all know, I'm obsessed with skincare.
I'm super excited. I have so many good tips and tricks to share. I feel like as women, we have to not gatekeep.
Of course. Like, let's help uplift everyone else so we can all look hot and healthy this summer.
Absolutely.
So how did you get into the skincare game?
As most of us maybe don't know, 80% of our genetics is what we do. 20% is epigenetics and what your family gave you. I'm from a line of women who didn't really honor themselves. They didn't do skincare. They didn't put themselves first in a lot of ways. And I think it led to a lot of early aging. And it wasn't a road I was willing to go down. So I started my aesthetic journey after my second daughter. Now I have 2 little girls that I'm teaching all of the tips and tricks about, how to honor yourself, your skin. We don't need to look old when we're not.
And I always tell people that taking care of themselves is the most highest form of self-respect. I get really frustrated when people put down aesthetics as being just really superficial to put sparkle on your face every day. But I remind the channel all the time that getting up, putting a good outfit on, doing your skincare, doing your makeup is showing yourself that I am worthy of spending the time and attention and money to take care of myself. I put myself out into the world as the best version of myself. If you want to do better at work, if you want to do better in your love life, if you want to make better friends, stepping out into the world as the most polished version of yourself is a great hack.
Absolutely. When you look good, you feel good. You perform well. And I think we're kind of raised to think it's selfish. And it isn't. I also think we're raised to think it's taboo to do these girly things. And it's not. It is an absolute testament to your mental health.
100%. I wonder if that's part of American culture that's trying to girl boss a little too hard, that's putting women down for the naturally feminine, fluffy things that they really enjoy and bring them happiness.
Of course. I think for a while, when I would go into work meetings, I would always say low ponytail, not a lot of makeup, conservative nail color, because I think I was fearful to look girly in a world where it maybe isn't accepted. I have a great feeling that the next generation of women, they're not afraid to be themselves. Because you look a certain way doesn't make you any less intelligent, or because you have red lipstick on doesn't make you less of a girl boss in any way.
I know, especially for me, because I do civil engineering for my typical day job, it's very uncommon for engineers to showcase themselves as girly and polished and taking pride in their personal appearance. So I definitely stick out, and it's taken a lot of self-awareness to remain true to myself and be like, no, this is the person I'm choosing to be in the world. You may all enjoy wearing your khaki pants and your polos. I am here for the cute outfit.
I'm so proud of you for that.
The results I'm wanting in life require me to show up as my best self, so that's how I choose to act every day. Where do you think people should start if they're just beginners in skincare? I'm obsessed. If there's a new thing I can do to be more glowy, I've signed up.
Of course, of course.
Just a beginner, nothing about skincare or aesthetics. Where are we gonna start?
I actually have firsthand experience because I was her. I think the biggest thing is to first and foremost not get overwhelmed with what you're doing. Buying these 15-step skincare routines, they're going to throw you off. You're not going to know how to use them. And the basis of skincare is really consistency. You want to find a routine that you can be consistent with and that works for you before you start adding in all of the other lotions and potions that kind of you from anti-aging. My biggest recommendation to someone, I would say find a reputable cleanser, a reputable moisturizer, which I'll give you recommendations for, and an SPF, and start there. Twice a day, cleanse, moisturize, cleanse, moisturize. put your SPF on. After around 4 weeks, when you feel like you've made the time to take care of your skin in that ways, then we can add all of the anti-aging lotions and potions to keep you young. I think people get really overwhelmed, and I think they throw a ton of money away on trendy skincare hacks that really aren't working.
Stop wasting your money at Sephora, please. The amount of
I know.
money I burned trying to figure out the exact right product that would give me perfect
Mhm.
skin as a teenager is enormous. And I'm a smart woman. I can do research on products, but that doesn't mean I'm qualified to get the exact right product for my condition.
Mhm.
I had horrible cystic acne. I was over here trying to save money on skincare, DIYing it at home, in the meantime making my skin worse and wasting money in the process. Especially if you guys are watching TikTok and beauty videos all the time, you guys get the impression that you can try all these new things and it'll make your skin better. But my experience is that the more new products I push into my skin, actually the more I break out.
We're a consumer world where we just keep adding and buying, and I need more, and oh my gosh, the TikTok shop, or this glow mask that people are doing that makes you look like a porcelain doll and they peel it off. I'm like, where do they find these things and what's in
Yeah.
them? I think we need to not get caught up. It's really easy to, because marketing is something that even myself I fall into all the time. Don't buy the marketing, buy the product, which means a product that's formulated, backed by science for your skin type. Not just walking through Sephora and be like, oh my God, look at this package. It's so cute. Not that you're guilty of that.
Get sold on the packaging a lot, you guys. Oops. And it's been my experience that the most effective skincare is not necessarily the most expensive.
No,
You can get the best studied anti-aging cream on the market for like $15.
for
Our
sure.
dearest friend tretinoin is so effective. But if people want to get more into the anti-aging game, what kind of products would you suggest? Because we have all of this noise in the
Mhm.
skincare community. We want to know what's actually effective
Yeah.
to optimize the skincare routine.
Absolutely. You already sort of mentioned it. So, retinoids are going to be the top of the list for anti aging. That being said, not all retinoids are created equally. That's something I think we mess up often as people that are, learning to do skincare. What you need is not just retinol, but retinol that has been converted to retinoic acid. When you're looking at your products, you need to make sure it's a retinoic acid, because if you just find one that says retinol, not going to work. That being said, it's super drying. And so that's why I mentioned starting your own little routine and then adding a retinoic acid in. There has been some new science, I love
Yes.
science, that is really bringing copper peptides to the game. And I'm a huge, huge fan of copper peptides on the skin. I caution you not to use it with your retinoids because they can be extremely abrasive and drying, but rotating a copper peptide and a retinoic acid. Some people do a week on, a week off. I do like 2 days on, 2 days off. I would tell you that copper peptides are really taking the industry, and they work, which is something we haven't seen in a while. Other stuff that you need to purchase, everyone needs a vitamin C, but vitamin C is not something you need to spend a lot of money on. So I would say invest in a retinoid financially, but maybe you can go for a little cheapie for the vitamin C.
Yeah.
And then lastly, NAD. So if we are not using NAD, we have to start. NAD is something that the molecule has to be the perfect size to work on the skin. You really have to pick a good brand. Young Goose is an amazing brand that has a lot of really innovative NAD products.
And you guys know I went to the longevity conference that Brian Johnson sponsored, his Don't Die conference with all of the other biohacking nerds. And actually, they had Young Goose as one of the
Did
sponsored
they?
brands there. So you could try all of the stuff very well known in the biohacker longevity community. I do need to get my hands on some NAD stuff because I know you can get injections,
Yeah.
like an IV drip, or you can do this vitamins that you find on Amazon, but I
Yeah.
can't imagine a vitamin is as effective as getting it done at an office.
I think for me, there's a lot of science that can be a little bit conflicting about NAD when it's being given in an IV drip or given IM. Some people take it as a shot. I think it's a little bit controversial, but everything in moderation is what we all need to focus on, right? Like drinking too much water can be toxic, yet water is the best thing for your body, right? So I think we have to not get really caught up in the hype about, is NAD good? Is NAD bad? It's good in moderation. If you do too much of a good thing, you're going to end up having issues. I had to try it. I went and I got an NAD drip. There's a couple of reputable drip bars around our state, thankfully. I got to be honest, when it's going in, you feel sick. You don't feel good. And then immediately after your infusion is done for the next 7 to 10 days, you feel superhuman. So I'm a huge fan of NAD. I think over the next 5 years, there's going to be a ton of science that really supports the anti-aging biohacking behind it. I'm super happy that Young Goose is becoming popular because it is absolutely one of the most effective skincare brands. You know, it's on the higher end, right? But if you stop buying all of the crap that doesn't work, you can invest in the brands that do work.
That's the thing, right? So if you're spending all of these 13 skincare products at Sephora and you have $500 worth of that skincare routine, you can get a really good moisturizer for like $20. You can get a really good sunscreen for maybe 15. And then maybe you have your retinol, which is a little pricier, and then maybe you have the one product from Young Goose, which is a little pricier. And that's going to be way less expensive than doing a 13-step skincare routine that you got from Sephora. We're being financially responsible,
Yes,
girlies on the channel. So if we're trying to get our skincare routine in order, what do you recommend in terms of products people should buy and what order they should put them in if they're trying to get the best skincare routine for results?
I think it's something that we mess up so often. I remember my first time doing skincare and how do I use them? So I think we'll start with the correct order. I know this off the top of my head because I teach my daughters every single day when they ask me. Okay, so cleanser, toner, then your serums. If you are using more than 2 serums, you have fallen into some type of a trendy hole that have to dig yourself out of. And that includes things we've talked about, vitamin C, your retinols, your niacinamide, things of that nature. And then lock it all in with a moisturizer. So really simple, cleanse, tone, serums, moisturizer.
I will link all of my favorite products in the description box for you guys just to make everything easy and anything Ashley recommends as well.
Excellent. Well, I think a lot of it depends on affordability, right? So when you're just getting started, it's really overwhelming to be like, I'm going to spend $280 on this one product.
No, I'm not.
So there are a couple of decent products that are affordable that you can start with. And this is always controversial as to what products you can pick up. But what I'll do is I'll give you some affordable ones to start with and then some of my favorite higher end
Sparkly products.
sparkly products, you know, like the birthday spoiling products. I actually like Paula's Choice. I think Paula's Choice is a solid, pretty well researched
I'm a big
brand.
fan too. Yeah.
I think that brand does a good job. I actually am a fan of The Ordinary, which is one of the more affordable brands. It's not quite as backed by, research as Paula's Choice, but it's a good product. Recently, I have been on a Youth to the People kick.
Okay.
I love them. They have a great retinol product right now. It's a retinol niacinamide serum, and it does break it down into exactly what you need to be effective, not super affordable. So I'd say those are my favorite kind of getting you started products, as well as the Epiance line, which I always kind of push.
Yeah.
It's a botanical base line. It really protects the skin barrier. And then I need to spend some money and get some really great skincare. Young Goose, which I've talked about numerous times, they have NAD-based products with spermatidine and great things for anti-aging. Neova is an amazing, amazing brand. Again, a little bit on the higher end cost-wise, but an amazing, reputable, well-researched brand. And then as far as my SPFs, I'm a Supergoop fan. So I love Supergoop and Elta MD, as well as the Epiance line for my SPFs, and all of those are very affordable.
I'd say I almost never spend a lot of money on skincare products specifically because I've just found so many good options at wicked affordable price points. And it's an oddity for me to spend more than like $30 on a product because I have tried the Paula's Choice niacinamide and I love it especially because it's a booster, it just sinks right into the skin really easily. But I can either get that for $40 or I can get the Isntree serum that's a niacinamide serum and also has a few other things like hyaluronic acid and peptides in it for like $12 on Amazon. I tend to gravitate towards a lot of the Korean skincare because it's super affordable and they also have really, really effective ingredients. I think the thing I spend the most money on would be the serum category, but
Mm.
still it's nothing that really breaks the bank because I don't notice a big difference putting on different lotions and potions on my face. I notice a big difference when I come to see you to get the treatments done. So I'd rather save that money and just go get my laser treatment done or save that money on an expensive serum and go get Rejuven poked into my face. I am here for like scientific effectiveness, and lotions and potions is great, but they just can't move the needle as much as in-office treatments. So it's a balancing act, but definitely always go find a professional who's going to tell you specific products for you instead of just random people on TikTok. It's
Yes.
not so helpful.
And find someone who's going to stop you if you're doing something that's not beneficial to yourself. This is my biggest, um,
Yeah.
you know, point of wisdom is that we all need to have a livelihood. We all need to make money, but that doesn't mean that I would put you in a situation that I would do something that wouldn't be the best outcome for you for my own livelihood. Finding someone who you trust in that way, I think is really got to be top of the line when you're selecting who you're going to work with for your
And I
injector.
think that's a good mark of an aesthetics professional as someone who kind of pulls you back when you've gonna look for an injection. I'm so curious what you think about supplements and collagen powder and things like that. I'm super dubious of a lot of the supplements because it's not even regulated in the
Mhm.
US. But I'd love to know your perspective on whether or not supplements work and should we be taking specific ones to be more glowy and
Mhm.
pretty?
Yeah. I think a lot of it again is marketing. I think we're buying into all of these fountains of youth that just don't exist. That being said, high protein is not a myth. You need high protein for your skin to look glowy and for you to not age,
And
period.
you guys know how much I push that on my channel too, because if you want good skin, long princess hair, and if you want to have an easier time keeping weight off, putting more protein in your diet is the best hack for this.
Absolutely. There's so much, and this is not in any way to take away from what someone eats or does, but these vegetarian and vegan diets, you've really got to make sure you're getting enough protein or you're going to age. So I would say protein is top shelf. Now, I do actually believe that there is a little benefit to collagen. I don't know exactly what science is going to end up supporting because there's just so many various kind of starting points. But I would say if you're going to pick a collagen, a bovine only, grass fed, certified organic collagen would be the only way to go with no fillers. And then lately, I had mentioned to you like I was having some hair loss in the past.
Yeah.
I've been doing bovine colostrum, and I think a lot of people just drink milk, but I don't drink milk.
I
It's
don't
gross.
either.
It
And
makes
it's
me
not good
sick.
for your
Yeah,
hormones.
like I don't drink milk. So I actually have been using that as a supplement
Mhm.
as well. I think the other supplement that as women we should be using that we don't is creatine. I think we are afraid of its uses.
Because we're afraid to get bulky and
Correct.
whatever. Yeah.
And I think we need to kind of remove that thought process and really look into the benefits of creatine as a woman. I'm in my later 30s now.
Ah, and
That
looking
hurts to say,
fabulous.
but it's something I've implemented as my hormones do begin to change. So protein and creatine are going to be the things that kind of carry me. And again, if you're not taking care of yourself on the inside at the cellular level, you're going to age.
Mhm.
So I don't take a lot of supplements, but I do dabble a little bit with the things I mentioned. And,
Yeah.
cottage cheese has unfortunately just become a part of my life because the protein.
There's this specific, it's the Kate Hill Greek style yogurt that they make from almond milk that me and the fitness girlies fight over at Whole Foods. Sometimes I walk in and it's completely wiped out because the other fitness girlies have realized that it doesn't have dairy, there's no sugar, and it's basically just like a protein supplement in yogurt form. And again, I tell people all the time that they need to be doing things like Pilates and weightlifting and eating their protein because if your body's not looking like plump and healthy because it has muscle structure underneath it, you're gonna look older too.
Oh, for sure.
So lotions and potions are great, but if you're not taking care of the holistic system, you're not gonna feel as strong and you're not gonna look as young and healthy.
I agree. Have you ever tried Legree?
Yeah, I think I actually do agree, but I call it Pilates.
Okay.
So I don't know what the difference is. I'm on a reformer and I'm doing all sorts of awkward things
Hmm.
that apparently have given me abs, but I don't know what the difference between Legree and Pilates is.
I'm not certified in either to speak on them, but I've done both. And I got to tell you that as you get older, your balance gets much worse.
Mm.
We just don't balance as well as we used to. I did a cartwheel recently and I was dizzy, like truly dizzy. And I was like, who is this person? I was a gymnast.
Me too. You used to do backflips and now you're dizzy doing a
Yes.
cartwheel.
Correct. So Legree is a form of Pilates where you're standing on the reformer a bit,
Mhm.
and it's a lot of balance. So I
Mhm.
would recommend while we're sharing our tips and tricks with people
Yeah.
as you get older, balance is something that goes. So start working on that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think you'd really like Legree.
I think so too. I always recommend people do yoga as well because for me, one of the hallmarks of aging mentally and spiritually is actually becoming inflexible.
Mm,
And getting your body to be more flexible, I think, is one of the ways to feel more youthful instead of struggling like an aged person to try to touch your toes.
mhm.
You can get the splits at any age, and it's obviously a lot of work if you've ever been a gymnast or a dancer to keep those up. But I feel so good about myself when I feel flexible, and it helps me sleep doing yoga every day. And I just feel more relaxed and less stressed. So
Yeah, I would agree from a medical provider standpoint and an aging woman standpoint.
So apart from our general skincare routine, is there anything else you think people can be doing at home lifestyle-wise to look glowy and healthy?
Absolutely. A lot of it's really simple. You're going to say, Ashley, I hear that all the time. Drink water, get sleep, don't eat sugar. I know, but those things work.
You hear it all the time because the basics are what move the needle the most. At the Don't Die conference, the number one thing that Brian Johnson said helped his longevity biomarkers was getting good sleep. It is completely reversing any damage that's happening to your cells over the course of the day. And it's the one thing that if you can hack your routine to get better beauty sleep, it'll completely transform your life.
Absolutely.
And I tell people on the channel all the time that happy, healthy women are hot. You will get this lit from within glow if you're actually taking good care of yourself, and you can't put enough makeup on your face to cover the dark under eye circles from being an insomniac. I would know.
No, you definitely can't. And along with the taking care of yourself piece, there's new kind of technology that you can even bring into your own home. I'm a huge fan of red light therapy. If you know me and you've had any conversation with me, I talk to you a lot about red light. The thing about red light therapy is you want to make sure that you're using a machine, but there are some great ones that you can purchase online and bring home. There's certainly investments. And then lastly is the sauna. I can't say enough good things about the sauna, but when we talk about glowing and skin, not only is the sauna known to like prevent cancer, right? If you're a firefighter and you go into a fire and you're breathing all of these terrible toxins, they recommend that you go into a sauna to detox. That doesn't mean we can't do it daily for our skin, right? You're going to
Yeah.
glow, your pores are going to be cleaner. Um, and there's so many different places that you could A, go into and use the sauna for very affordable costs, or B, invest in having one in your home. These aren't just things for people that have unlimited funds. These are things that you need for overall wellness. If you want your skin to look good, your insides have to look good, right? It's one and the same.
And for me, sauna has a dual purpose use. Yes, it makes me feel glowy in the moment, but it also helps my sleep. And there's a lot of research that says that the relaxation and the detoxification that happens in the sauna actually helps your sleep later on in the day. If you're struggling to get your beauty sleep, that's the first thing I would add in. I have my little red light mask.
Do.
I actually take naps underneath it.
Yeah.
I put it on with my nice music. I take a nap for 20 minutes, and then it's just part of my normal skincare routine. Caution people against buying random ones
For
on
sure.
Amazon
Agree.
because there is no way that a $20 mask on Amazon is anywhere near as effective as the kind of machines that they're using in office. I have the Saluma one, which is one of the brands that I would recommend, but if you're gonna buy something like that, it is a higher ticket item
Yeah.
because you can't take a shortcut and buy it on Amazon. It's just not gonna do
It's not
anything.
going to work. And, by the time you've gone through 15 of these cheapy masks
Mhm.
that aren't doing anything for you, you could have invested in the one that actually does work. I do have a ton of masks that are linked, which I can share with you
Sure.
for you guys out there who are interested in purchasing one.
So if we have hacked all of our skincare routines, we have the right lotions and potions, what should we do in office versus at home to look glowing and beautiful?
Probably going to be my favorite question of today. As you know, I'm a conservative injector. I don't want you to look different. I want you to look like you, but I want you to feel your best. I want you to feel like you're glowing. I have so many women that come in and they're like, I look tired, but I'm not. People keep asking me, are you sleepy? And I'm not.
Or are you upset? My mom complains
Yes.
all the time that because of the line she has, people say she looks upset all the time,
Mhm.
which is really frustrating when you're
Sad.
trying to bring your best foot to the world, but your face is not reflecting your internal state.
Absolutely. So you're going to hear it a lot, and I'm never going to not say it. The gold standard is Botox. And I don't mean just the brand Botox. You know me, I am a Dysport fan, and Daxify is great as well. But really, neuromodulators. If you could invest in one thing for anti aging, it would be a neuromodulator. I think people have this fear because of what they read on the internet or when people post a review of how crazy they look, they've been botched by Botox. You have to understand that that's the injector. Don't give the product a bad name. You can go to a reputable injector and have a great outcome. Your friends and family aren't going to know if you don't want them to. I know you and I personally speak on it openly and,
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
advocate for it, but I think you can use all of the skincare that you want. Aging is still going to happen. I always use the analogy in our conversations where if you fold a piece of paper over and over again, no matter how much moisturizer you put on that paper, there's still going to be a line. So, neuromodulators allow us to relax the lines that we don't want to be there and to lift the areas that start to fall from gravity. That is going to be number one, gold standard above all things that I think you should do in office. I also think it's not as terribly unaffordable as people think it is. You just come 4 times a year.
I think even maybe you can expect to spend about $400 those
Yeah.
times you come into the office. So it's definitely more affordable than a lot of the higher ticket treatments. And there seems to be this negative connotation with it because for whatever reason, people think you have to wait till you're really old to be doing
For sure.
Botox. And they think if you're getting Botox in your 20s or your 30s, you're a crazy person, like obsessed with plastic
Insane.
surgery or
Yeah.
something, or you're vain or you're shallow. But I always tell people it's preventative because, again, if that paper is folding all the way up until your 40s, you're going to have wrinkles that you can't reverse
Oh,
by that time.
absolutely. And then it's going to be, much more invasive treatments. I personally started getting Botox at 26. And what I've noticed is that my doses are quite low because I didn't allow myself to get to a place where I was fixing
Mm.
things. I didn't want to have to fix things. I wanted to prevent them. And so there's definitely so much misinformation out there about Botox or neuromodulators. These are great products and the side effects are very, very minimum. I should knock on wood, but I can't remember the last time that I had an issue using these products. I've spent a lot of time training and making sure that they're, used safely. And people come in after and they feel so much better. You watch a woman come in who is just feels tired, right? And maybe is a mom or maybe is a big career woman and maybe is in sales and competing with much younger women. You give them the treatment with Botox, and then, 2 or 3 weeks later, they walk in a different person. You can't just tell me that's skincare, right? That's an entire psychological change for that woman. And so, absolutely, gold standard will never change my mind.
It totally changes your confidence.
For
It's
sure.
always why I tell people start with the physical things on the outside, and your emotional body kind of follows suit as you become more confident and more at home in your own body.
I also think it's crazy because Botox has been around for over 25 years, right? It's one of the most studied medications. If there were going to be adverse effects, we would know that by now. And because the public hasn't been using it for 20 or 30 years, it was reserved for celebrities or very, very wealthy
Mhm.
people, in prior years. I think it's still very new to the community where people or women, even men, I have my Brotox patients, which makes me laugh every time when they come in. But it's not as new as people think. The product has been studied, it's safe, and it works.
And we have a lot of male viewers on the channel actually. We're about 60% women, 40% men.
Excellent.
And I so encourage men to go see a dermatologist or an aesthetic professional because if you want the biggest bang for your buck, you're going to get it from someone like Ashley who has a ton of medical experience. It's not going to take away any of your masculinity if you choose to take care of your skin. It will actually make you look better for longer, which, believe it or not, women want you to look good and age well also.
For sure.
And the most masculine man I know has a job selling arms with the federal government, likes to drive his fancy sports car. He has a little beard going on, regularly gets Botox.
Of
He'll be
course.
like, yeah, why would I not want to look better for longer?
Yeah.
Why would I want to waste money on creams when I can get a injection of medicine that actually works?
Right. And I think the other thing is like how it is done and who injects it is really important because there are people who say, I want a lot of this, or hey, I just want a little bit of this product where I can still look masculine. You will still have your masculine features. We will not give you arched eyebrows, but you can kind of take away some of that pulling that makes you
Mhm.
just feel bogged down. And that is not specific to a male or a female. Obviously your injector should know exactly what you're looking for. But you're right. I have currently someone who owns a big tree removal company as a client who is one of the most masculine farm boys, for lack of a better word. And then I have many CEOs that just have to have their photos taken. And over time, even as a male, you start to see things change and you're
Yeah.
ready to not change what you look like completely, but go back to where you started.
Yeah, we all want to look our
Of course.
best. Why do you recommend people try Dysport as opposed to the brand name Botox?
Well, this is a good question. Both products are wonderful products. To me, in my personal experience, there are many studies that go back and forth and debate the two. I find that women who exercise a lot, who have a very active lifestyle, maybe Emily,
Buddies every other day, and
there
I'm
you
running
go.
5 miles.
The product lasts longer for them. I usually will start with Dysport. It spreads a little bit more when I inject it, meaning the injection site covers a little bit more area. In theory, I can do less injections. And I think I get almost 4 months out of most of my clients who use Dysport, despite them working out or being very active. It is my favorite preventative neuromodulator. Now, if I have someone comes in that has very advanced skin and has a lot of deep wrinkling because they're starting a little bit later in life, I would say I would start with Botox. It doesn't spread, so it's much more direct, but it can kind of bulk up some of those very deep lines. In my experience, those patients come back every 3 months on the dot.
Wow.
It doesn't hold up as well.
And just to give you guys a sense of the results you can expect from an injector like Ashley, I'll put my before and afters on the screen here. I know my transformation videos are some of your favorite on the channel, and I just want to keep you optimistic about going to people like her because she really can uplevel your face without doing really scary treatments like going in for surgery or something. We want to leave those for the last possible resort. We want to take small steps instead of completely overhauling our face and potentially getting botched. None of that.
I completely agree. Starting early in preventative care can keep us from needing surgery at all. I think that's really what we're moving forward.
As you guys know, I am a insomniac, unfortunately. That's why you see so many videos on the channel about how to get better sleep at night because I struggle with it myself. I always get these horrible blue circles under my eyes that concealer cannot cover up. So Ashley recently recommended I get PRF done. Hopefully you can tell the guys what that is so they can look alive and
Yes.
bright and awake every
Yes.
morning.
So PRFM, you were close, is what everyone needs to kind of get on board with. I think the biggest thing about this is everyone is so fearful because they're going to draw my blood.
Yeah.
So when you go get PRFM and you kind of sit down, it's not a scary procedure. I think some of the things that are really helpful with the treatment is that it's your own body's natural products. If we have somebody who's afraid to use other products like fillers or anything that's synthetic, they want to use their own cells, then this would be a perfect treatment for them. Basically, you go somewhere very reputable and they will draw your blood. They will take your blood, spin it in a centrifuge, and pick out all of the good cells and then inject them into the area needed. So you were saying that you're an insomniac and you have under eye bags. They would inject some of these platelets that are very rich in a lot of nutrients to that area, and it would send all of the helper cells to rebuild collagen to that area and fill the voids that you have. I will caution everyone because we are bougie on a budget, right? So if someone says PRP, I would say PRP is great, but you want PRFM because what you're paying for is so close in cost. You want the good stuff, and that comes with the PRFM treatment.
I did look into the PR pee treatment. And my dermatologist said I'd have to get this redone like 4 times a year. It's gonna be like $900, guys. So it adds up quick, that skincare bill. So definitely if you're going to do it, get the PRFM treatment that you only have to get done, what, once or maybe twice?
It's typically twice. I think
Yeah.
that would work the best depending on the severity. This isn't something that you should wait to do when you do have advanced skin. This is
Mhm.
something that you do to prevent the skin from aging and advancing. It helps with volume loss. So if someone has significant amount of weight loss, you can inject your own natural cells and they'll do the work for you.
Which is
For
amazing because
sure.
I think one of the areas that myself and other women struggle with the most is right here. The smile line's like, I'm a happy woman, guys. I smile a lot. And the result of that is I get a lot of them right here. So you can put filler there, but I have such a love-hate relationship with filler because it's a process of me getting injected, loving it for a bit, and then hating it as it moves, and then getting it changed. It's exhausting. If there's
Yes.
another option that can make you look more natural without this process of completely having to get it redone all the time, I'm going to take that every other day.
Well, of course. And there's a huge population of people who have autoimmune conditions and they may not want to use filler or they shouldn't use filler. Let me be clear. If you have an autoimmune condition, you can end up really in trouble if you're using synthetic things that your body doesn't recognize and attacks. And so there's a great place for PRFM in those patients specifically.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then from a texture perspective and for pores, one of the things I get done on a regular basis are chemical peels, and also I get done lasers. I've only had a few different lasers done, but I'm kind of dipping my toes in. I've had the Resurfix laser and just a random laser facial, and those so helped my acne scars because I know you know, but they may not be aware. I used to have horrible cystic acne as a teenager, so I have the red spots even left over some ways. And that's not something skincare can fix. I need something a little more powerful, like a laser, to get into the deeper layers of the skin to regenerate that.
You are absolutely right. So I think we have a couple different things to unpack here.
Mhm.
We have our chemical peels, which we'll get into, and then our lasers. Our lasers are essentially chemical peels times a billion, right? So if you're someone who's really conservative and you're new to skincare and skin health and you're not ready to just walk in and spend $2,500 on, the top shelf
Yeah.
laser, you can start with chemical peels.
Mm.
Now, there are some that you could do at home, which are like a 2% salicylic peel, but I would recommend that you only start peeling with a professional. Right now, all the rave has been placed on the VI peel. I've personally had it. I absolutely love it. TCA peels are also great. And these are two things that you can ask a professional aesthetics provider in your area. Those types of peels can help with brown spots, fine lines, texture, but they're not the holy grail, right? So if you're someone who's looking for results, you got to move on to laser. If you're someone who's aging, every year you need to do a laser. There are different kinds of lasers. There's ablative lasers and non-ablative lasers. Understanding the difference and what they do is really, really important. So when you go somewhere or when you're doing your Google search about what we're talking about, ablative lasers take off the top layer of your skin. They're going to resurface you. Those acne scars are going, right? But you have downtime, you have recovery. And an ablative laser that you all may have heard of is called the CO2 laser. And you really need to prepare for downtime, for numbing, for discomfort. It is all so worth it. But when you're talking about an ablative laser, I want you to think like top layer of the skin is gone, like a chemical peel times a million. And then there's non-ablative lasers. Those lasers are the lasers you should be doing every single year to anti-age. And so what those non-ablative lasers do is they heat up the cells very, very deep in the skin and they cause collagen to turn over, turn over, turn over. And they make you red and you will have some downtime, but it's not nearly the same. So that is really a fine line anti-aging treatment. One of the most common for non-ablative lasers that you may have heard of is the Fraxel laser.
Mhm.
And every single year since I was 26, in the winter only, if you live somewhere that's sunny all the time, you have to be careful. Lots of sunblock if you ever even go near a chemical peel or a laser, or you'll just be undoing everything that you've worked towards.
Ashley recommends doing it in the wintertime because you'll have less sun exposure. The sun is your worst enemy in terms of your anti-aging routine. And if you've just gone through the effort of paying for and going through these really intense laser treatments, you've lost the top layers of your skin. So your skin is really, really sensitive and can be damaged more easily by the sun. Sunscreen indoors in the wintertime if you live in the Northeast. Super, super
Oh,
important.
absolutely. I think it makes sense too. We all want to be out in the summer, and you don't want skincare to feel like a job. You will be less likely to follow through and do it if you're consistently like, this just sucks. I have to do this, which is why I mentioned where you start. Start simple, right? Because you don't want it to feel like a chore. I love my skincare routine. It's the best part of my day because I didn't develop a love-hate relationship with it. Do these things when you don't have somewhere to be, when you can recover.
I want women to feel excited to pour back into themselves instead of compulsively doing all these treatments because they feel like they have to.
For sure.
This all should be adding to your emotional well being. And we talk a lot about romanticizing your life because we want it to feel more special and magical, and taking care of yourself every day, doing your skincare, putting your music on, lighting a candle, getting in your fluffy bathrobe is a really precious time to look after yourself. You don't have to slap all these things on your face and just get into bed. There's two ways to go about all things in life. You can either be in your go, 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 girl boss energy, all of this masculine achievement directive energy, or you can really get into your body. You can be in the moment, enjoy the experience of doing the thing, and just enjoy all of the feelings that are coming about by taking care of yourself. I always recommend, in order to be a happier person, to step more into your feminine energy, because if you want to be burned out, turn skincare into another chore. Like,
Oh,
it's not a
absolutely.
chore, it's a blessing. There's no need to have that be another checklist on your to-do. It's ridiculous.
I mean, we have to do so much in our daily lives. And,
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think we need to like romanticize our lives a little bit. Just hearing you talk reminded me of a book that I read. And in the book, she talks about going to the market and buying yourself fresh flowers and putting them on your table, making sure that you have a new bra that fits well, dressing a certain way, taking the time for you. I think you just hit all those nails on the head. Yet when I do my skincare, I have a podcast on.
Yeah. I
It's-
love listening to podcasts as I get ready. That's one of my favorite ways to get
Yeah.
ready too. What's the book?
The book's called Buy Yourself the Fucking Lilies.
I love gifting books. They're my favorite thing. So I think I gifted you
You
Manifest
did.
by Roxy
You
Nafosi.
did.
And manifestation is the main thing we talk about on the channel, whether or not y'all realize it or not. We design, build, and manifest our dream life. I gave you that one because I think manifestation is two things. It's belief internally that you can do the things required to get your dream life, and belief externally that the universe and God will bring them to you if you consistently do the right thing, and then action, the actually doing of the thing. We were talking on a train and she was telling me a lot of things about her dream life, and I was seeing inconsistencies in her alignment. So I gifted her the book as
Yeah.
a prompt, and now we have a glorious ring on her finger,
We
and we
do.
have a new house,
We
and
do.
all the vision board is coming
All of
together.
it. So I'm a firm believer, especially since Emily brought that into my world of manifesting and then separately romanticizing my life. I mean, historically, I am a very masculine woman, and it is something I struggle with and I don't want to be taken care of. And I am a boss woman. And now I have this great man and I've fallen into more of a feminine energy and so many things are changing. And that book, Buy Yourself the Effing Lilies, was also gifted to me. So I am listening and I am reading. And it's exactly what you said. And it's really helped me grow and it has helped me be motivated to help others see it. I want other women to see this. You can do this, and men. It's just a wonderful world to kind of step into. And it goes right along with everything we're talking about.
I speak so much about feminine energy on the channel because it is one of the things that has most up-leveled my life, my dating, my friendships, and my overall happiness, especially being in a male-dominated field. I see women who are hyper task-oriented, who are hyper boss babe, who are hyper I can do it all myself, and they're absolutely miserable. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for my younger self. I want to feel like my life is a fairy tale. And you can live in a delusional fairy tale. You just have to choose to make that your reality. Buying yourself the flowers, taking care of yourself, romanticizing your day, putting on your skincare is all you choosing to show yourself. I get to have this magical, romantic, easeful experience of life. And I get to let go a little bit and it gets to be easy. all of these mentality shifts make your life slowly feel more magical. And skincare is just one of the ways we can do that.
That was something that personally opened the door for me, and I'm watching it open the door for many other women. So,
Mhm.
I work with women all day, and it's my favorite thing because it's not easy, right? And so to talk to women and give them recommendations and having them come back and say, I have this whole new routine. I took a bath, I used the bath salts that you recommended,
Yeah.
I use the Epiance brand. They have these new routines, and I can actually watch them still be assertive and still be, command a room in their careers, but fall back into their feminine energy at home. And that is not an easy thing to learn. You know me well. It's something that I personally struggle with. And you have been such a role model for me. I help you with your skin, and you help me with being a better woman, I guess, or a better.
Stepping more into your divine feminine power.
Yes.
I think it gets a bad rap online because they do have this connotation that it's this magical, divine, spiritual thing. And it is a little spiritual, but for me, it's just taking care of yourself and learning how to appreciate life and being more and appreciating everything that's happening around you and receiving. It just really changes the dynamic of life. And since it's made me so happy to, again, have a bath for myself, to take care of my skincare, to have a lovely candle in my little fireplace going at night to read a book. I want other people to experience that as well. And there's so much stuff online about dating, about how women should act in
Hmm.
order to get a man to give her princess treatment. If you are not giving yourself princess treatment, no man is going to do that for you. If you're not giving yourself that self respect that I am a princess in my own life, I get to wear pretty clothes, I get to have nice outfits, I get to walk through the world, I get to buy myself flowers, I get to read my books at a cafe, I get to go explore with my friends and have playtime and picnics in the park, I get to have all these sparkly gifts that I give myself on my birthday. No one else sees you as worthy. Doing those for yourself, affirm for yourself, I'm worthy of these things, and then other people learn how to treat you based on how you treat yourself. If you want a man to give you princess treatment, give yourself princess treatment.
Yeah, set the
Say,
standard.
I'm worthy of these things. Therefore, that's how I act in my embodiment. And the rest of the world just kind of follows suit when that's your core belief that I'm worthy of this thing.
Absolutely. And I think for me, my fiance
Mhm.
that you've helped me manifest, who has now arrived, he knows it is my time. When I spend quite a bit of money on my skincare products or, the clothes that I feel comfortable in, he respects those boundaries. This is your time. This is what you like to do. And I think that's part of exactly what you're saying is he met me when I knew how to treat myself. Again, thank you. It's helped my psyche remain
Mhm.
kind of strong. And as I wrestle myself to be more feminine, it's just a good jumping point.
It's a continuous learning
For
process
sure.
to step more into your feminine energy. I don't think men have a problem with it. Every man I've ever dated or met, and even your fiance, they see the result of you pouring into yourself. It makes you feel happier when you pour into yourself,
Mm.
when you do things that make you happy and feel better. And when you bring that better version of yourself to the relationship, they want to be in your happy energy. Of course, they're going to encourage you to go on a girls' trip and to take care of yourself and to get all dolled up because first it makes them look good to have a pretty woman next to them, and it makes them feel good to be next to a woman who's joyful and happy.
Absolutely.
That didn't have anything to do with skincare, but I can't stop
No,
talking
we
about
worked
it.
it out.
So that's why we have hundreds of videos about manifestation.
It does work.
It does work.
I am an example. I'm very scientific, if you haven't been able to tell. And it's a whole nother dimension of existence. I think it was my birthday a couple years back now that you gave me that book. I really leaned into it, and you're right. It works.
I'll have to give you another one because Roxy Nafosi's book is the most objective, scientific manifestation
Okay.
book. So if you're tentative and a little resistant to the spiritual side of things, which I'll marinate in the woo woo juju all day long. Here's my selenium crystal to manifest your dream life. But if you want more of the science-backed action things, her book's a great place to start. That's why I gave that to you because it can help you see the more objective side
Mhm.
of the process. And this whole channel is meant to be a gift to my younger self, sharing all of the lessons I have learned. If I didn't tell her, you need to learn to get out of your masculine energy. If you even want to heal your acne and heal your hormones, that's something I would tell her. There was a time in my life when I had started school and I felt like I had to prove myself when I was in my first job. And I was in a relationship when a man was not taking care of me very well. And I was wearing even clothes that don't seem to resonate with the person I am now in my soul. Again, I will give you the before and after of when Emily is in her masculine energy and when she's happy in her feminine energy. And the transformation is incredible. It's not just all of these needles and treatments you have on your face. My acne and my hormones got better when I was actually less stressed in life. There's a book by Alyssa Vitti that's called In the Flow that talks about how your hormonal cycle affects your moods, your hormones, and how to biohack for each stage of your cycle. Learning how to be more around receiving mode, be less stressed, enjoy life, treat life as a playful game, helped me to just in my body just experience less chronic stress and heal my acne, and then learning how to treat my body as a woman instead of listening to all of this productivity advice from men helped me to again take care of myself holistically so that I'm more glowy.
I am
Pushing new books at you.
I mean, I don't know if you're inside my head and you know that I need a book called In the Flow, but I
I
am
don't
just so
know.
excited to get it because that is another part of
Stepping more into your femininity.
correct.
You can be a completely different woman in the beginning part of your cycle
Oh,
versus the end of your cycle.
not me.
No, but learning how to take care of your mood
Mhm.
and what foods you're supposed to eat, what type of workouts you're supposed to be doing. And I will also link for you guys the whole description because she has specific treatments in different types of your cycle that'll best help your body. So, for example, the sauna isn't going to be recommended all times of the month. It's only going to be recommended during times in your month where the extra heat in your body will be helpful.
Mhm.
Because depending on where your hormones are, it can be helpful or hurtful. If you're at a stage of your cycle where you're very anxious and you go into a sauna, you're going to be even more anxious.
We don't need any more anxiety at those
No,
times.
sauna's best for more restful times, like just during your menstruation time. And that so helped me to clear my acne, which clearly, because I talk about it so much, is the biggest issue I've
Yeah.
had with my skin.
Yeah, so your skin looks flawless
Oh,
at this
thank you.
point.
Thank you. It's from
And
all the help. She's been taking care of me for years.
I can't believe how long.
When did I meet you? Maybe 3 years ago?
I was just looking back. It's been at
Mhm.
least 3 years.
Yeah. Is there anything that you've done in your skincare regime that you would caution people away from or even completely tell them not to do? I always say filler is my love-hate relationship,
Yeah.
but I'm wondering if there's anything for you that you would tell your younger self, don't do it, stay away from.
That's a great question. This is going to be a little interesting. So, I would say I also have a love-hate relationship with filler, mostly because I think I started maybe at a time when I didn't need filler. I just wanted to make some tweaks and changes. At this point, I've corrected most of those things, but I would say be cautious with filler. Only use it if you absolutely need it. And then the other thing I would say went into using Accutane. And I used Accutane for my skin. And while I did have decent results, it had left me with some disfigurements with scars and things that may have happened anyway. But also, I think a lot of mental health stuff comes with Accutane. And of
Mhm.
course, they tell you that when you take it,
Yeah.
but you don't realize how much it can affect you. So I would say caution with filler, caution with oral medications, and I do have one more.
Tell me.
Okay, this isn't specifically skincare,
Okay.
but as you guys all know, GLPs are all the rage.
Can you tell our viewers what GLPs are so they can know all the secrets?
Yes. So GLPs are essentially an injectable type of medication that can be used for diabetes, but also can be used for weight loss. You'll know it as Ozempic or Mounjaro. All of the celebrities are using them.
If you want to be twick thin
Yes.
without going to the gym.
Yes. So these are great medications for so many people. Obviously, if you have diabetes, it is an approved treatment for diabetes. And if you're somebody who has metabolic syndrome, so you are overweight and struggling, they're great drugs to keep you healthy and to extend your life. But if you misuse them, and you're someone who maybe doesn't need them, they do come with a lot of side effects. So I would tell you that I did dabble a little bit because why wouldn't I, right? I'm just going to speak openly.
Wants to try all the new
Of
things.
course. I tell you all the time. If I don't try it, I don't push it, right? Everything
Yeah.
I've done to you, I've done to me. I think it
And
makes me a better provider.
yeah, because you know exactly what to expect.
For sure. So I used GLP. I think I made it around 8 weeks on a GLP. I chose to use Ozempic. I did lose a bit of weight, which felt great. And then I started to realize I was losing my hair, which was an incredibly scary part of the journey for me. And there's something called a stike. Have you ever heard of that?
No, it's
Where
not.
you can measure your muscle mass, bone density, and you can go and have it measured. A lot of functional medicine doctors have
Mhm.
this, but I lost a significant amount of muscle mass and I felt like I looked great. I was very thin, but I wasn't doing things in a healthy way and I was looking for a shortcut. There's a lot of things now about not using the drugs at the full doses and maybe microdosing. If I could go back, I would have microdosed. I would have not used the product because I think
Mhm.
they're great products and they have a lot of benefits. So speaking about hormones, they're showing a lot of improvement in women that have PCOS, infertility
Mhm.
issues, inflammation, great drugs. But again, I think you need to be cautious when you're using these things. You
Mhm.
know, I am a nurse practitioner, I am educated, and I still was able to lose too much weight too quickly, monitoring myself and being monitored.
That's so scary because losing your hair and bone density and muscle mass are really, really bad side effects. I try always to be really health focused on the channel with you guys because looking sparkly and glowy is great, but I want you to live the happiest life possible, and losing muscle mass as you age will happen naturally anyways. You have to work extra hard as you age to keep looking like plump and strong so you can actually walk up the
For
stairs
sure.
as you
For
get older.
sure.
And I know my grandma, she had osteoporosis and she gave herself microfracture just by lifting up a window.
Yeah,
The last thing you want is for people to struggle with that in their elder years. And people are not necessarily thinking about that when they just want to lose some weight. They're
exactly.
like, just want to be thin, I want to be skinny Barbie, and I'm not going to think about all of these long term effects. But it is really, really detrimental to your long term health. And you might look skinny now, but it's not hot if you can't even pick yourself up off the floor.
For
It's
sure. And I mean, I used it for 8 weeks and
already had hair loss.
already had hair loss, you know, and I think again, maybe I wasn't the person who needed the drug. And so this is in no way to turn
Mhm,
people off to the drug, but just to bring awareness about it.
mhm,
You know, I am all for biohacking, and I think in some ways GLPs can maybe be included in
mhm.
biohacking, but just doing things carefully. Don't overfill your face. Don't take medications that you're not 100% sure of
Yeah.
what the side effect is going to be long term for you.
And I highly, highly recommend you guys find an aesthetic professional who is more on the conservative side because I don't want you to just go somewhere that's gonna be trying to sell you a new vial of something. I want you to go somewhere where your injector is even more conservative than you are. So Ashley many times have
Yeah.
been like, "No, no,
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 no.
we're not doing that now. You're being a crazy
We
person.
don't
Calm
need that.
down."
It's scary. And I think too, like one of my other biggest fears is that everybody wants a deal, right? And so they're willing to go to whatever extent that they are going to go to get that deal. So whether they're going to an injector that's just gonna make a quick $500 and inject wherever and not care about what the patient is going to actually look like after. And then the other part of this is I have so many women that come to me after an absolute horror show and it turns them off to injections and they feel worse than when they started. I think I told you about the silicone story. Have I told you that story?
I don't know, but guys, there's so many med spas around. I always recommend you end up going to a plastic surgeon's office because they're better trained. They know what they're doing. They're not going to give you a new vial of filler just because it's on sale that month. So that's why I recommend people going to like you or my other doctor. They know what they're doing better than the random med spas down Sally's on 7th Street.
It's true. I mean, I had somebody who, you know, it was a licensed professional, but
Mhm.
wasn't necessarily trained and injected her, and whatever is in her face, I cannot dissolve. And so it's scary. And I think that needs to really be considered when we're talking about skincare in itself. Like, I do caution you. And there are great providers in all different places across the state, across the nation, but you just got to do your research.
And I always get afraid too because on social media, I'm seeing all of these things about girls traveling to places where they may not even speak the language in order to get discount products. If you're Korean or you speak Korean, that's great to go get the best procedures in Seoul. But for someone who's flying to another country across the world who may not know exactly what they're getting or the reputation of the doctor. It's really frightening. And I would hate for you to waste all this time and money just to get the wrong thing done. And I've had friends who've gone to, say, Mexico to have a nose job done because they didn't want to pay for it to be done in the US. And they had to get it redone because they couldn't breathe the first time it was done. You're making really, really big decisions about your face. You get one of them for your whole life. Invest in it. Please don't try to take big shortcuts. And again, if you're not doing silly things like wasting money at Sephora, $500 it really adds up to bigger savings that you can invest into things like a laser, to bigger treatments that actually move the needle instead of just slapping another cream on your face.
For sure.
Yeah. So I just saw a notification on Ashley's phone and I'm going to push another manifestation hack at
Oh,
you.
you saw the notification?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm outed.
Do you have the Manifest app on your phone?
Yes.
Good. This one gives me all of my lovely affirmations like 20 times a day. I love it. I think it's the only thing apart from text messages I allow to give me notifications.
Me all day. It reminds me all day.
I am a wealthy, abundant woman. My friend told me I should make a little affirmation booklet as like a little prayer book.
I agree with it. It works. I mean, you just saw my phone light up.
Yeah,
You know what
I
it
love it.
said.
Also, I've been thinking this summer I'm going to be hosting a retreat for all the ladies, and we're going to be having mood manifestation boards, and we're going to light the lanterns, and we're going to write letters to the silver city of all of our lovely manifestations we want in the future. So that's one of the other fun things coming to you guys on the channel. And my private coaching program will be launching soon. I'm getting it ready together now, so hopefully there'll be more fun ways for you to interact with me and get to know the program other than just watching my lovely videos.
I sure hope I'm on the invite list.
Of course. Wouldn't mention it otherwise. Is there anything you would tell your daughters to do that you think will make them age more gracefully than you have? You keep talking about helping them with their skincare, but I'd love specifics.
Okay, so my daughters are growing up in a little bit of a different age, obviously. One of the things I get on them about is like I tanned. I did. I was a
Oh
tanner.
no.
So like I think humans are solar powered, right? As
Yeah.
much as we like villainize the sun,
Your
we
cute
need
little
the
house
sun.
plant.
No, we are. And so I don't like to villainize the sun in any way. And we need the sun to shine in our eyes for many different reasons, for vitamin D. We need it for our mental health. So in no way am I villainizing it. But I don't think you need to like lather baby oil on your body and then go lay out in the sun. Or I was a tanning booth girl, right? Like I'm a millennial. Like we went in the tanning booth. So I get on them a lot about their skin. So I was fortunate where I didn't develop a lot of wrinkles, but I did develop a lot of brown spots. That's a big one. And then granted, I never smoked, thankfully, but this whole like vaping situation has me a little bit worried with my kids because we talk about smoking giving you cigarettes and poor skin turgor, poor wound healing. We know that. We don't know a ton about what vaping does to your skin, but I get really on my daughters about not vaping, not smoking, which thankfully they haven't. Additionally, I'm always a little dehydrated. I am a coffee lover. I will never.
There's an iced coffee on the floor, everybody.
Not yet had water today. So I do try to say on them, you got to drink water. Like that is the place that you need to start is hydration inside and out. And then lastly, I think one of the things I tell them that's more of an emotional thing is like, you don't have to fall in line. I think I'm older than you, but I think you maybe experience some of this too is that girls do this or girls do that. And, don't talk back. Don't be the biggest in the room. So I think what I'm trying to say is teaching them an emotional well-being much younger and allowing them to just exist in whatever way that they want to exist. I think that's going to help them stay young, right? I was forced very young to grow up, but it didn't allow me much time to like enjoy my inner child. You talk about your inner child and the purpose of this entire channel. And I think helping them not be sitting here as middle-aged women with so much to heal will ultimately help them anti-age.
And we all will accumulate things over the course of our life that we need to heal through. And I think I probably have a better understanding of my emotional well being. I grew up with a quasi therapist for a mother. Understanding emotional maturity and your internal state is something that's been very front of mind for me my entire life. The more you can show your daughters, like, how their internal state affects their external state, it will help them dividends further down the road. The manifestation community kind of brushes on top of this because it will talk about your vibrational energy attracting things into your life. But I really do think that making sure your inner work is done is the first component to your outer world manifesting beauty on your face and happiness in your life. If you're walking around with wounds from a past relationship, if you're walking around with scars from your parents, if you're walking around with things like regret and hatred and depression in your emotional body, they affect your whole experience of life. And it's not that magic comes into your life because you're vibrating at a certain state when you're happy. When you're happy and you're healed, your emotional and awareness perception opens. And you can see possibilities in your life, and you can receive those options that come into your life as a manifestation. I always encourage people to up level their emotional and their spiritual well-being because it will just give you more options in life if you're able to emotionally surpass some of these things that have come up that you say you need to heal from now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for my girls, they get mom homework, and that is always something that's not in the educational realm of traditional school, but it is their emotional well-being. We do worry dumps, we do self-esteem dumps. There's so many things that we do that you have to work with these young women and young boys so they don't end up having some of the issues that you've mentioned. I also haven't got a chance to thank you for sharing the information that you share with everybody and allowing a platform for everyone watching to just heal in so many ways, inside and outside. It's not often that women are brave enough to kind of speak up about things, and they're not often open enough to share what works. You giving this platform is just such a gift.
Thank you, Ashley. I so appreciate that. And as you guys know, inner work is one of the things we talk about most on the channel because it's what's helped me the most and it's what I've needed the most. Aesthetics and all of these fun lotions and potions are great, but they don't make a difference if you're miserable in your day-to-day life. You have to work from the inside out if you truly want to glow. I wish I could tell my younger self those silly things like journaling every day, taking a moment to be grateful, praying, and thinking about how you can work with the universe and God to bring about your best life. They actually make a difference in your daily life. Doing things like creating community and better relationships will make you happier. Doing things like your dream board or your vision board will help you see your goals in front of your face and walk closer towards them. Remind you what you're doing so that your actions align with your desires. I'm very grateful to have grown up with a mom who acted like my therapist to challenge the beliefs and the triggers that were coming up as I was growing up because not a lot of people have a backstop emotionally to keep them from spiraling into depression. And I've had my own struggles, but to have a mom who I'm venting to have me stop and say, I'm not going to feed the negativity story you're sharing right now. What you're telling me may not be true about the person who's gossiping about you. It's a story you're creating in your mind. And giving me the opportunity to create a more uplifted story about this really helped me a lot in life. More of that to come, guys, because I think that's what I have the most to give on this channel is more of the psychological hacks in order to uplevel your experience of life. I'm so glad you found it helpful. And we'll leave all of the product recommendations in the description box for you guys, along with what else have I promised? Book recommendations. We talked about Buy Yourself the Flowers, and we also talked about In the Flow. There will be a full video on In the Flow in the future. I have such a long list of videos to make for everyone, but it is on the list because hormone hacking is essential for female productivity and also healthy skin. Leave a comment below. Ashley's information will be there as well if you'd like to get on her schedule. And she's helped me so much over the course of the years and been a great friend. So I'm so happy that you've been on the podcast today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. And if anyone has any questions, reach out to me. I am so happy to help. And thank you for everything that you do.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's all I have for you guys. I hope this was really helpful and look forward to the next video on the channel. We're new to podcasting, but as you know, we post about 2 videos a week and we live stream whenever I'm in the mood for it. So look forward to that. Bye, guys.